What's up, MetaNerdz? This video is all about the first Jedi, Rajivari. He was a human male who grew up in the Jedi Order on Tython, one of the first organizations to have Force sensitives from across the galaxy. Rajivari was born around 10,000 years after the Jedi Order was established, and he would come to be known as the Wisest Master, and was nicknamed the General because of the leadership demonstrated during the Despot War, a war in which Tython was invaded by a Twi'lek queen that led a united force of crime syndicates. Perhaps because of a realization that the Force could be weaponized, Rajivari decided never to fight again, and live on an isolated island near the Temple of Balance, one of the 9 Jedi temples on Tython. His former apprentice named Ketu had become a master at this temple, and he would often seek out Rajivari's wisdom on matters that arose within the Order. Also on Tython was a large, deep canyon, referred to as the Chasm, which had a mysterious effect on Force users, altering their connection with the Force, and eventually causing them to go insane. Dagan Locke was a member of the Jedi Order, who was experiencing horrifying visions ever since he went into the Chasm, visions of an invading army that was full of soldiers wearing swords made of a bright red flame. 7 years after this, 3 Jedi also experienced visions that warned of a dark side warrior. Rajivari wanted to be in isolation to meditate on the Force, but he continued to provide wisdom to Ketu, saying that the Master should be getting prepared, as these visions were surely related, saying, quote, "Where there is one warrior, an army may follow." Later, Ketu was trying to access a holocron that had been left by a member of the Qua species, the original inhabitants of Tython, who were at one time spread throughout the galaxy. With Rajivari's help, they were able to open it, and out emerged a hologram of a Qua named Anang. They asked it about a mysterious skull they had found on a crashed ship, and Anang screamed in fear, yelling, "It's a Rakata," before it disappeared. Rajivari knew that the Rakata were a species that fed off of the dark side of the Force, and hunted the Qua almost to the point of extinction. In the year 25,793 BBY, the Rakata's infinite empire invaded the Tython system, and killed countless innocents from the settled worlds. An alliance was formed between these planets and the Jedi, and Rajivari was made the commander of these joint forces. The Jedi started to develop weapons called Force Sabers, which they learned about from the Force Hound Zesh, a former killer used by the Rakata. This weapon channeled dark side energy through laboratory-made crystals, making a beam of energy with destructive capabilities. Some felt that this was not a proper way to use the Force, while others saw this as necessary and noble in the defense of the innocent people of the Tython system. They were successful in driving away the Rakata, and Rajivari worked to reform the Jedi in reaction to what he had seen the Rakata do through their connection to the dark side. The name was contracted to Jedi, and a council was formed to discuss the direction of this new order. At some point though, Rajivari himself began to turn to the dark side. At least that's how history tells it. We don't know the extent of this change, but let me read you some of the quotes from his principles, which he taught to his apprentices. "All life is a battle, even to the last breath. To sacrifice strength is the act of a fool. Mercy creates a spiral of destruction." Obviously, that is not something we're used to a Jedi saying, but he also set up the first Jedi archives, which was called the Font of Rajivari, and he also created the Lore Keepers, while training many other followers in his interesting version of the Jedi Code. As tension grew between him and other Jedi Masters, it got to the point that he decided to kill the Jedi Council, but he never intended for the Jedi Order itself to be destroyed. They were able to cut him down, but when he died, he refused to become one with the Force, as the Jedi Order was still imperfect. He made sure that his knowledge could be passed down through holocrons, and years later, his chosen successor would be a disappointment, as the trials he put in place broke this apprentice's mind, causing him to want to destroy the great forge that makes lightsabers. Rajivari was able to help the new hero of Tython, and thus preserve the Jedi Order, allowing him to once and for all become one with the Force. So that's it for Rajivari, but I think it's interesting that you could argue that the Jedi Order itself was created out of fear, because the Jedi Order had been able to balance both the light and the dark, and did not vilify someone if they felt the pull to the dark side, but had corrective measures in place in the form of meditation on the moons Ashla and Bogan. It was only when Rajivari saw the horror that occurred when one fully embraced the dark side, that he perhaps overcorrected, and decided that the new Jedi Order must completely reject every aspect of the dark side. Acting out of fear, could it be that Yoda's words about fear leading to the dark side predicted the fall of the Jedi Order itself. I think it is pretty interesting, but definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And that's it for Rajivari, the First Jedi. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to check out our social media, or ways that you can help support this channel, be sure to check out the description down below. If you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that you get notifications. But more important than all that, remember, when you gaze long into the chasm on Tython, the chasm on Tython gazes also into you. And the Force will be with you, always.